open, by the way, so you got a little turmoil there. But, the Cowboys are funny because they're 31st in their passing offense. And it's funny because Jared Goff was a number 1 pick, and Carson Wentz is a number 2 pick. And, by the way, Kirk Cousins is a 4th-round pick. You watched Goff and Kirk Cousins last night. Who looked like the number 1 pick? Folks, I know my job is to accumulate as many trustable sources as I can. So when I come on the air and have opinions, they're backed not by like message board guy, but by people that work in the NFL. I got 4 GMs on my phone. I have 6 scouts. I have scouting directors, former players. There's a reason for it. Talent evaluators are overwhelmingly right. They really are. They're overwhelmingly right. And people say, what about Brady? Think about this. Since the Super Bowl era, the Super Bowl in 1967 until now, so from the first Super Bowl, Packers, until now, there have been, and I counted this morning, roughly what you would call 30 great quarterbacks. I mean, I'm talking great. 2 have been drafted later than the 3rd round. Kurt Warner and Tom Brady. Stop using the exception to be the rule. Dak Prescott was the 135th pick, 4th round for a reason. I watched him in college, and I said coming out, he's a better version of Tebow. He's not a big-time thrower. Greg Cosell was on this week. He gave us an incredibly honest assessment of him. Here it was.
Prescott right now is not a very comfortable player in the pocket. I would say that there's too much necessary movement that he does, and that results in creating his own pressure at times and losing his ability to make throws. And so I think that it's a combination of a number of things. I could show you specific plays from this week where he missed throws.
Yeah, Jared Goff, number 1 pick last night, did not miss throws. Carson Wentz doesn't miss throws. They're better players. So talent evaluators, Cole Beasley came out yesterday and was like, we're open. We have film. We are open. So it's not. I think Dak's a franchise quarterback, but I think he's closer to 15 than he'll ever be to 10, and that's okay. You don't want to be chaotic at quarterback. Dak provides stability. You do not want to be Andy Dalton, as much as I criticize him, creates stability. You don't want to be chaotic at quarterback like the Buffalo Bills in the first 2 weeks. You want to be stable as you look for the next guy. If I was Dallas, I'd keep drafting guys. Justin Herbert, Oregon, I'd keep drafting guys. And you won't be chaotic with him because Dez is stable and mobile and available, and he can make some throws. But, it's like presidents. Ronald Reagan went to Eureka College. That's the exception. Since Reagan, every president's gone to an Ivy League school. Don't take the exception and say, you go to Eureka, you become president. No, you go to Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, that's, Cornell. That's generally how you become. By the way, all our commissioners right now in all the sports went to Cornell. There's a reason. There's the Ivy League. That's the rule, not the exception. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Heard on the news. This is the Herdline News.
All right. Kudos to Todd Haley for keeping it real. If you remember, the Browns used a play that looks a lot like the Philly special.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Hugh Jackson came out and said, this is not the Philly special. We didn't steal it from them. This is a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
The Baker catching a pass from Jarvis Landry to tie the game. Well, Todd Haley has come out and said where the play came from.
Absolutely. I have no shame. If plays look good, hey, Kenny Zampese has a library of plays I've never even believed could exist. I don't know how he watches enough tape of other people to have it stored up, but great resource.
Yeah. Look, even if you didn't know that it was the Philly special after all, who cares? Nothing is new.
I remember there was an old college football coach called Bobby Bowden, and I was interviewing, remember Bobby at Florida State, and I asked him one time, and he goes, I come home after my Florida State game, and he goes, I'll turn on and watch Oregon and Chip Kelly. He goes, because Oregon does a bunch of crazy stuff, and I know other coaches aren't up watching Oregon at 2 in the morning. He goes, I've stolen more plays from Oregon football. That was when Chip Kelly was there. He's like, That's what it's all about. And he goes, I watch them with a clipboard. I sit down and write the plays and how they do it, and then we practice it, and 2 weeks later we use it.
Are you even trying if you're not doing that?
Yeah, who's not? We're all borrowing from each other. Yeah. Letterman borrowed from Steve Allen. We're all borrowing.
I don't get it, but kudos to them because they not only borrowed it, they got it done. They did it the right way. They converted. So it's time now for our fantasy headline, sponsored by DraftKings. Josh Rosen will make his first career start on Sunday against the Seahawks. This game is part of your Blazing Five. They're off to an 0-3 start, so the Cardinals need a win badly. But one thing that Rosen has, and he's bringing with him, is his confidence.
I am me, and I'm not trying to model my game I admire quarterbacks, but I don't try to emulate or act like they do. I do me. I mean, it's gotten me to this point, so why change?
Like him. Cocky, but I like him.
I'm so glad that he's starting because he's going to be a good soundbite because he does not. I'm not saying he doesn't care and that he doesn't care about what he's doing, but he really speaks with confidence in that he is a self-assured person. He knows who he is.
If he can get protection over the next 3 years, Arizona's just got to really beef up on their offensive line.
Yeah.
They're okay in a lot of spots. They're bad up front. If they can solve that, you got a guy for 10 years that's going to throw darts because he's a really good player.
And he has a chip on his shoulder because he felt like he should go higher, although he went at a perfectly appropriate and respectable place in the draft. He doesn't believe that. So whatever you need to be motivated. But Josh Rosen is very much an individual. He was asked if he models his game after any other quarterbacks, and that was his response. I am me. Finally, Klay Thompson obviously wants to ride the Warriors championship train for as long as possible, and he approaches free agency next summer. But he's continuing to make it known that he would prefer to stay in the Bay.
It's crazy because we are back-to-back champs, but at the same time, I feel like we're all relatively young and we can still get to another level and keep winning, not just this year, but years beyond, which not a lot of guys are confident that they can do that with their team. So I love coming to work every day because I realize it's a special group and a special time to be a Warrior. It's hard to walk away from something that you were here when it started, and you just want to stay on the train as long as you can.
He's such a smart kid. You know what, man? He's such a smart kid. He could star elsewhere. This is my knock on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy wants to be the best player. Klay wants to be a great player surrounded by other great players. And that's Jimmy Butler just, let me go, I want to be my guy. And Klay's like, no, this is really historically special. I mean, how great. Like, when you can let go of your ego and suppress your ego and say, I want to be surrounded by people who challenge me and maybe better than me, and let go of the ego and not have to be the man, want to be just one of the men, life's great.
Well, I'm not so sure that this won't be the last year that we see the Warriors together the way that they are. I think next year's free agency is going to be incredible. However, it's not just playing with other great players. There's a lot. These are still human beings. There's a lot that goes into your happiness and your well-being.
Yeah.
Maybe he likes living there. Maybe his family is happy there. He makes great money.
If you're working
he's in
as
an
a
organization
man,
that probably supports him.
as a man, work's bad, life's bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's for anybody if work's bad, life's bad. But I'm saying there's a lot of working parts in the entire organization and the culture and going to work every day. Just because you go to work every day and win doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy. So everyone's like, oh, I mean, he may end up with the Lakers next year, right? Like there's a lot of things that could happen.
They say that.
There's a lot of things that could happen. I'm just saying that in this particular situation, if people are confused as to why people are taking less money or staying at a place like where he's not necessarily the man and Klay Thompson is a great player, there's a lot that goes into what you do every day.
It's nice when you're smart to work with smart people. Golden State's got a bunch of smart people. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NBA I would just not bang my head against the wall. It's nice when your backcourt mate is Steph Curry, your coach is Steve Kerr. Like, it's nice. It's not. He comes to work every day. It's like grown-ups. You know, I mean, Draymond's crazy, but he's kind of like street smart. So he's got a Rodman appeal to him where you think he's a crazy guy, but he's a lot smarter than that. I don't know. I find it's hard to leave a place when you drive to work happy. Klay Thompson sounds happy to me. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
By the way, Clay Matthews complaining, I can't tackle, I can't do this, I can't play the way I want to play. I want to show